Hello, this is Eileen, the environmental educator. In this video, we're gonna ask this man, who is Joseph Kennedy II, who is Bobby Kennedy's brother, older brother. We're gonna ask him to do what he should have done a long time ago. Joe started this Citizens Energy Corporation in 79, you'll see, and who we are. We are committed to climate and community. And if you scroll down, their charitable programs in their industries, we own, operate solar battery storage, microgrid, and transmission projects from coast to coast. So they definitely have a lot to do in the energy field. I'm not sure where climate comes in because they don't talk about that on their website, but this is what they're committed to because they're clean energy, as if clean energy is the only thing the world needs. And now Joe knows what the world needs environmentally, the environmental educator agenda, because I met Joe in 98 when I randomly picked up a phone call and he didn't even like me. He hung up on me. It was a lousy job that I had. No one accommodates my eye condition in the workplace, so I had this lousy job because they were like, well, do this job because then that's at night and then nobody cares about your eye condition, because my eyes can't see light. Okay, so I was doing this lousy job and the phone rang at 2 o'clock in the morning and it was this guy. Somewhere he told me his name and I'm like, there's a million of them. It's probably not even him. And I mean, he was actually very nice, but it was 2 a.m. It was 4 o'clock his time. Okay, he's on the East Coast, but he just kept trying to get me to be chipper. And at 2 o'clock in the morning, I just wasn't having it. I was being professional, just matter of fact, like, let's get the task done. And he was just kept pushing me to be really jovial. It was 4 o'clock in the morning his time. I don't know how he was so jovial, but the more he tried to push me, the less I was giving it to him. Okay, so I will fess up to that. But then he screamed at me, which they all do, I'm a congressman. And I think that's when he hung up. And then the phone rang a few minutes later and his wife made him call me back and apologize. And then Joe couldn't put down the phone for 2.5 hours. At 6:30 in the morning his time, he was like, oh, yeah, man, oh my God, it's 6:30. I gotta go, man. My staff is going to be showing up. I'm like, what do you mean? He's like, I'm in my office. Me and my wife, we've been here. We've been working all night. Okay, but Joe assured me that he was going to get my work to Gore because he was so impressed with it. And I kept saying Bobby too, and he never agreed to Bobby, but I kept pushing him and he never agreed. But Gore, absolutely, because this is what needed to be done. That is how I got this 99 and 98 letter from Gore, because I met Joe in January of 98. Then it was still a bunch of requests to Gore later that I finally got these. And right back here in 95, I got a letter from a subordinate. So the environmental educator started in November 93 and I started hitting up Gore right away. This is what it takes to get a reply from a public servant's office. Okay. Like almost 2 years from when I started asking him. But then it took Joe to get you these replies in 98 and 99. And he thanked me for my efforts and bringing this proposal to his attention. And how are my efforts? Oh, that's right. He's impressed with my hard work and commitment. Yeah. But, he's sticking to his 98 letter where he's just going to continue the solid record of achievement that has characterized the administration since they first took office. And how many decades are we later and we still don't have solutions? Now, I hit up the energy, emailed them a while back when I was like, Joe, come on, Gore's not doing anything. And he's like, man, it wasn't him. It was his assistant, Jeanette Trask, who was like, stop bothering us. Okay. So that was back in 2005 and I haven't bothered them. But now with Bobby being Mr. Environmental and being for truth, running on truth, I was like, okay, this is just too much. We actually need solutions. So I went back to Joe. I called, okay? And you get the initial person. I wasn't going to get anywhere. I got got through because I said, well, is his assistant still Jeanette Trask? And the guy on the phone was like, yeah. And then he kind of perked up. I think he said, you want to talk to her? Because now I know a name. And I was like, well, I have her email. And he's like, well, I can put you through to her. And I was like, oh, okay. And she was, of course, very not nice, letting me know that they don't do anything about energy. And she just kept talking. I don't even really think I got a word in outside of my initial words. And then she was just letting me know that we don't care. We're not going to expose anybody. She loves Gore. Gore's an environmental champion. She like yelled at me enthusiastically. And then she hung up saying, I'm going to hang up now. So it took me over a week, but then I sent this to them. There's Jeanette right there in their general email, and then Tucker and the Join the Resistance and InfoWars and O'Keefe, who won't tell you truth. But I sent them this email, get this to Joe, and this is back in 2005. Remove me from your list, from Jeanette, when she just couldn't be bothered. Look who is on distribution here. NRDC, Seattle Harvard, because Harvard, that should be another video. But the River Keepers, Carter, the Clintons, Seattle, they were big in the news. Sundance is here, and just couldn't be bothered to, because Joe doesn't do that, okay? So I sent this email. You can take a look at it. I'll scroll through it here. You can stop at any point you want, but the call ended with her letting me know that she was hanging up and they don't do anything about climate, basically, except they're committed to it on their home page of their website. So it took me about a week to get this together because, as I put in here, I'm 30 years into every environmental voice out there being so proud to laugh in my face and let me know that they don't care about solutions and they're not going to do solutions. And it takes longer to bounce back up. Okay, I am 30 years of this later. And then they're so proud of themselves for keeping desperately needed global good from being achieved. They're so proud of themselves. And that includes Jeanette Trash. She is just, I call her trash because she's a horrible human being. And then they would have gotten it on the morning of Friday the 13th. And then I just put, hey, another email. Did you get this to Joe? And did you get this to Joe? Are you gonna do the right thing? And that was all the 13th. And then on the 15th, it's gonna get to them tomorrow morning. The 16th when I load this up, and I'm like, get this to Joe the 3rd. And then I tell him to get it to Joe the 2nd. And then I send him this email here. And I say, the world needs Robert F. Kennedy. I'm like, Joe needs to be the knockoff Bobby fraudulently claims he is, because Bobby wants to go by RFK Jr. so that he can ride the coattails and pretend that he is the champion his father used to be. Told Joe in this email here, one of these emails, unless we're duped by your family in the 60s, they did, especially Robert F. Kennedy, Joe's and Bobby's father. He did the right thing because it was the right thing to be done. So I'm like, Joe, we need your dad, so why don't you be it? And then I remind Jeanette, she's going to get this the morning of the 16th, climate is what they do. And is she going to care? No. But I'm asking them to, because as I tell them in this email, Gore and Bobby are preventing solutions frauds. So much bad happens because they refuse to give the world solutions, and they run nonprofits and rob the public blind. And also, so doesn't your sister Rory. And I talk about the Climate Emergency Fund. I've done videos about Rory right here. Rory must be stopped too, and you can see she was the Oscars documentary governor when Gore's second movie was going to be a finalist, and I prevented that. But Rory knows there's solutions. Now, she runs this Climate Emergency Fund because we need solutions. And what does she do? She funds protests. Okay, that interrupt your lives or throw things on the Constitution. They're gonna someday actually do damage to a masterpiece or something. Okay, just ridiculous. And it's more ridiculous when you know that Rory has been holding up the solutions for years before she started this fund because we need solutions. So her idea is to go out and protest instead of actually giving you solutions. So I tell Joe, we need you you to expose these people. We need you to have an intervention with these people. Now, will he? No. I'm just really pissing him off. I can assure you of that. But he's a good guy. And I'll tell you what, as I put in this first email that I sent them somewhere in here, I say, Joe, you are the only person in all these years that has done anything to get solutions implemented. But now you've got to really take it a step further. And by the way, while you are not exposing Gore, while you have let Gore's fraud go on for so long, you're a participant in it. And the same thing with Bobby and Rory's fraud. Okay, he knows. While they're out there talking about everything they're doing that's so good for the world, Joe knows that Bobby and Rory are frauds holding up solutions. And so I'm like, Joe, you're a participant in their fraud. You're a participant in them robbing the public blind from their donation dollars. And inaction is action. It's a decision. And U.S. law is not preventing terrorism is terrorism. You know, if you know somebody's going to do harm to somebody and you don't stop it, try to stop it, report it to the appropriate people to stop it, you are responsible for it. Well, the same thing for all of not having environmental solutions and all of the negative consequences that have happened. He's responsible for it. Equally, he's an accessory. Now, he hasn't taken on the cause like Gore and Rory and Bobby, but he knows the truth, and he's a Kennedy, and Kennedys have voices. And we proved that. I put it in this email. I'm like, you proved that the Kennedys will go out and get pressed for the right thing. They just went out and they took on Bobby, and he was part of that. But then I also remind him, here's his mother, Bobby's mother, Ethel. Their niece, Mariah Kennedy, she's a daughter of one of Ethel's kids, okay, because it's her grandmother, this Mariah. She married Cuomo, the New Yorkers. Who is this picture right here in her living room? Che Guevara, the Marxist revolutionary. And right here on this table that it's on, it literally is front and center before her family. And Mariah, as soon as she put this out and somebody picked up on that, she took down this tweet, but I captured it. So yeah, I remind Joe that maybe he should get on America's side. Hopefully he will get on the side of environmental solutions too, but we will see. Stay tuned, people.